Hello and welcome to the 12 Months to Marathon podcast with me, John Hill, the running podcast for people over 35 who have marathon dreams. Okay, last week we talked about change. Now, I want to give a bit more of a background here really on why I'm talking about this versus talking about running specifically, because I think when we want to improve in any discipline, particularly anything fitness related, there's a change that has to be involved. So that's why last week we spoke about the change process and how I feel the change process should go. What I'm going to do this week is give you some practical steps on how to implement that change process so you understand how to go from wanting to make a change to maintaining that change. And what I mean by that is last week we talked about something becoming your identity and part of who you are. So this week I'm going to give you some practical steps on how you can start the process and then finish the process by making it part of your life. Okay. Now, if you want to make this relevant to running, I think this would be something along the lines of you're looking to go further, you're looking to go faster. So you're looking to become something that you're currently not doing, basically, or somebody that you currently aren't, if that makes sense. So let's say you are starting from scratch and you're going to follow a traditional running plan like Couch to 5K. This kind of thing will help you with that. Now, in my running coaching program, it's interesting. I have a lot of conversations with people because we've got people at different levels. So we've got some people in there who are relatively experienced runners. We've got some other people in there who are just starting out. And it's interesting almost watching them butt heads in a sense, because obviously somebody's got one mindset towards themselves and somebody's got another mindset or view of themselves, which is a starting out mindset, whereas the other person's got a I want to improve mindset. And it's interesting watching the language and watching how they interact, and it's all fine, it's part of the human experience. But when you start to understand how we can not only change but also maintain the changes, you start to talk to yourself in a different way, okay, particularly around this subject. So I'm going to introduce you today to something called the A.W.A.R.E process, so A.W.A.R.E, okay. And each letter stands for something. And I'm going to go through each letter with you, and hopefully that will help you to understand how you can start the process of changing and doing something different and how you can then maintain it. Okay. So let's get straight into it. So firstly, the first A is accept reality. Now, this is something that we all struggle with and something that we all argue with, including me, including today. So it's something that happens a lot. We are consistently arguing with reality, and we're also consistently wanting things to be different when they aren't. And that's just a human thing that we do. The key is being aware of it and then minimizing it. Okay. What I want to give you today is a better way to think about it. So when I say accept reality, you are the result of your past decisions and actions where you are. And what I'm referring to here in this is things that we can control. Now, we can control more than we think we can. That's probably a whole new podcast for a different day, but let's focus on the things we can control. So let's say you are starting out on a running journey and you think, I'm not a runner, I'm overweight, I'm going to be the fattest one there. These are just beliefs that you hold about yourself. If you accept reality, which is you are starting something from scratch, you are starting a new thing that you're going to have to learn, that's better than using self-deprecating language to beat yourself up so you probably don't start, because that's what I see a lot of. I've been in the fitness game for a long time. My primary background is weight loss, so I've seen so many people quit weight loss journeys just primarily because they think about how they are at the start of the process. And you won't achieve anything by thinking about where you are at the start of the process. You'll achieve what you want to achieve by just getting on with what you need to get on with and taking it one step at a time. So the first A is accept reality. Likewise, if you are looking to go a further distance or go faster, well, you're going to have to do different things. And you need to accept that up until this point, you perhaps haven't trained to go faster or haven't trained to go further. So you're going to have to look at that. Okay, so the first one is accept reality. And a really good way to manage that process is this. You are a product of your past decisions and actions, and you can change those. Is that easy? No, but it is simple. You can change them should you wish to. So first A, accept reality. The next one is W, which is write goals down. I'm a big believer in the old school 30 years, 20 years old motivational speaker stuff of writing down your goals. I think it's important to actually, on a pen and paper, write your goals down so you can actually see them. Now, there's some stats on this, and we don't know correlation, causation, and all that. I'm going to do a podcast on that as well, but of how valid this is. But something along the lines of you're 70 to 75% more likely to remember something if you write it down with a pen and paper. Yes, you can use notes on phones and stuff, but actually old school pen and paper works well. So writing down your goals, writing down what you want, writing down other things as well, which is, again, probably a podcast of its own, but I'll just focus on goals for now, is very powerful. So if you write down what you want to achieve, whether that be a 5K, whether that be a 10K, whether that be a marathon PB, whatever it might be, write your goals down. And if you do that consistently, you will always bring them to front of mind. Okay, they'll always be front of mind, because it's quite easy to get distracted by life and the things you've got going on to forget what you're trying to achieve. So regularly, pen and paper, write goals down. Simple. Not easy though, that one, funnily enough, to do on a daily basis, because we forget and we get distracted. The next one is apply daily. So the next A is apply daily. So what changes can you make every day that move you closer towards where you want to go? And those are daily actions. Okay, so tangible actions that you can control. So, if you wanted to be a marathon runner, for example, and you're not, what would you need to do on a daily basis that's doable and actionable in order to make you become a marathon runner? Simple as that, really. And think about that. So we are successful based on our habits that we do on a regular basis. Okay, so things we do regularly. So you can't go weeks on end without running, for example, unless you're injured, of course, or anything like that. But you can't make a conscious choice to go weeks on end without running and expect then to become a distance runner or a faster runner. You have to practice this stuff, and you have to think about what things you can do on a daily basis that will move you closer towards where you want to be and the person you want to become. Okay, because you are the sum of your habits, and those are things we do daily, weekly, monthly. But if we go down to a micro level and look at the things we do on a daily basis, that will have the greatest impact, because then obviously a good life's a load of well-lived days, isn't it? Or habits are built up over time. So the next one is apply daily. Think about the things you can apply daily to move you closer to where you want to be. The next one is R, which is replicate success. Replicate success. And replicate success is where you take what works and keep doing it. You don't make sweeping changes all of the time. Now, because the way the world works, what we tend to do is we tend from hop from shiny object to shiny object. Now, when you're looking to run faster, run further, then there are no shiny objects really. There are only simple disciplines that you need to do and practice on a daily basis that are going to get you to where you want to get. Okay, and things work. Certain things just work. That's the way things are. So when I talk about replicate success, is if something's working, keep doing it. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you read online. If something's working for you, keep doing it, despite even what an expert would tell you. If something's working for you, keep doing it. And I think what I've noticed from particularly marathon training and doing marathons is that a lot of people will read something close to the date of the marathon, change it something close to the time, and then mess the whole thing up because it's changed the routine. So the R is replicate success. So if something works, keep doing it. So block out opinions, block out information, and just keep doing what works consistently, and don't be afraid to adjust that if need be. So if something stops working and you can evidence that and make it tangible, then again, feel free to change that process. So the R is replicate success. If things are working for you, keep doing them. A good example, I'll always use this, when I first started losing weight back in 2005, I would eat the same foods every single day. And people would say to me, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. I lost 3 stone in 4 months. And my answer to them at the end was, yes, I can, because it worked for me at the time. Okay. And as long as these things are healthy and they're benefiting you and they're not impacting you or anybody that you care about negatively, replicate success. Keep doing the things that work, irrespective of opinions or information. Finally is I think probably the most important one, which is E, which is evolve. Okay, and evolve is, what do you do with this? So let's say you become a 5K runner. What do you then do with that? How do you use it moving forward? If you then become a half marathon runner, let's go to let's start doing some real distance here. What do you then do with that? How do you take that and use it in the longer term? Now, design this originally from a weight loss point of view in the change process, because it's like when people lose weight, what they tend to do is they put the weight back on because they don't know what to do with it. They just lose weight and go, oh, now what? It's exactly the same with this. You need to think about, when I've achieved this goal, what do I do with it? Do I get faster? Do I get further? Do I maintain that distance? Because the problem is with running, if you go up to a certain distance and you start regressing on that, it's easy to fall back into bad habits. The only exception to that, I would say, is marathons, because marathons are 16-week training cycles. Marathons are a lot of work, and unless you've got all the time in the world, it's very hard to be knocking out multiple marathons per year. Most people will be looking at 1 or 2 max because of the training cycle and because of what it involves. So when I say evolve, it doesn't say you become a marathon runner and then keep running marathons. It's like, well, I've done this now, what do I do with it? Do I focus on doing 1 marathon a year and getting faster, or do I focus on getting faster at shorter distances? Do you understand what I'm saying? You take the thing you've got, the goal you've achieved, the 5k, the 10k, the half, the whatever it might be, and then say, how do I evolve this so I can then take it and do something with it in the long term so I don't regress. I speak to a lot of people in the fitness game and also the running game in general who will say to me things like, I used to do this, I used to do that. And normally that's because they haven't evolved with the process and with the journey. Okay, so that's the A.W.A.R.E process. So it's A.W.A.R.E. So it's accept reality, write goals down, apply daily, replicate success, and evolve. And if you follow that with any change process or work around those principles and see it through, it'll help to make your changes stick for the longer term. Yeah, and it works. It really works. It really works very well for weight loss, which is where I originally designed it. But in running terms, it also does as well, because it's interesting. It's almost like a sandwich, because at the start is the hard bit, which is accept reality. I am where I am, and that's okay. It's just a result of my past decisions and actions, and I can change that. And then the final one is the E, which is, okay, I've achieved this goal. What do I then do with it? So I don't fall into the trap of, oh, I did a half marathon 10 years ago, got bored and stopped completely. Yeah, not saying you have to do half marathons every year, but unless you do something every year to keep your toe in the water, then you are going to regress, and then it's harder then to get back on it, because as you get older, it's harder to start new training cycles and start new journeys. Okay, so hopefully that's been useful. That's the A.W.A.R.E process. It's another little window into how to change, and I think if you are looking to improve on your running, or maybe even start a running journey, because that's quite a difficult time is starting, this process is useful for that, because it allows you to work through the process of change without feeling bad about yourself or talking to yourself in negative language. And also this will help you to move to the next level, of course, because if you say, are a half marathon runner who wants to go to a marathon runner, well, you can go through this process quite easily, because you have to accept at the moment you're just a half marathon runner, and you need to take the jump up to a marathon runner. Okay, and that's okay, and it's that process that you need to go through. So that's this week's episode. I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to follow the podcast or subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Drop a like, and if you want to share it as well, that's much appreciated. I do appreciate you listening. Hop over to Instagram if you haven't already, and follow me at 12 Months to Marathon. You'll get loads of free daily content on there, and I appreciate it. And you can reach out to me on there as well if you do want to have a chat in more depth about running coaching and either starting a journey or taking your running to the next level. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon.